Good morning, everyone. I'll look at the question, Haranath, in just a few seconds. So hopefully you can hear me. I don't know if anybody confirmed. Thumbs up. Thank you very much. All right. Today, Wednesday, May 27th. Let's look at news first of all. This happened earlier. Was very positive news, but it pulled back since then. So let's see what we have for the economics calendar for today. I did not reload this, so I do not see any 3-star importance. As far as 5 things you need to know, I did not reload, and it's not there. So give me a second, and I'll go get the link. MU all-time high. Just got the alert. Okay, so stock futures rise. This is the same every day. Micron stocks keep soaring after joining the $1 trillion club. MRVL shares extend gains, and then they have their earnings this evening, I believe. Yep, MRVL is right there. And Salesforce set to report results after the closing. So CRM over here is also reporting earnings. And that's about it. There's not that much going on. There's definitely some news. But here's the pullback, right? This was the news this morning, and this is all-time highs. All-time highs is being rejected. So let's look at that question here. Fibs 29,744. Okay, so you're talking about MNQ to 3376. So let me go. That is a very high time frame. 29,744. So you're drawing fibs from yesterday, I guess. 29,7. Wow, where are you? Way the heck down here from a few days ago. I rarely draw fibs that far back, but it doesn't mean they don't work, because they do work. They work on a higher time frame. You can go on the 30-minute, right, and draw. I think you said 29,744. So the low of this over here to 3376, so the high over here. So let's draw these. So we are on a higher time frame. There we go. So if we're looking at this, there could possibly be some buying in this range over here, and that correlates with the chart. Right over here, we went up and then we pulled back, and look at this area over here. Let's take this over here and move it. Right, this seems to be an area where it was resistance, and then we blew past it. And then in the pre-market, we retested, put a kangaroo tail here, and started buying. So that's my comment. On the higher time frame, this is a swing low right here. We started buying from there, and this is a swing high. We are still bullish. When we look on the higher time frame over here, we're absolutely bullish. But we cannot go up in a straight line. So I'm expecting there to be a pullback, and this would be a very interesting level to see what happens here, right? Not necessarily to get in. I would not put in my limit order entry over here because the stop is too far away for me, right? So an entry here, you know, with the limit entry would mean I get in, whoops, wrong tool. I get in long over here with the stop down here, and 3R is over here. It's not unimaginable, but what I would prefer to do is if it comes down into this area, and I will set an alert. I do not need the fibs anymore because I've got my white line. I'll set an alert, and then I would start looking at it and see what happens. Does it give me an entry signal? And that's where I'd probably get back into the 5-minute. Why do I forget this every day? Go back in here, there, share, share screen. There you go. Sorry about that, folks. Sorry about that, Will. Thanks for the reminder. So this is where I would zoom in, and hopefully it doesn't happen too fast because we are selling right now. So if it's a really quick sell-off, I'm less interested in buying the bounce. But if it stair steps and makes its way down here on MNQ, it might be interesting to look at if there's a possible entry for the continuation long. All right, so hopefully that answers your question. Thank you for the question. Anybody else looking at anything else? I am not planning on doing anything in the first half hour. I do not like trading the first half hour. Yesterday I took a trade and I got punished for it because it took me out right away. Right, this was it. Right, we were selling. I got back in because we were at a high over here. There was a room to the left. We sold when I got into the smaller time frame. I took a short over here on the 50% retracement. It just took me out right away. Why? Because it's in the first half hour. This is called price discovery. In the first half hour, even the first hour is price discovery. But we can tell here that we chopped down, chopped up, then went up and re-dipped over here. So this over here was a good breakout and retest for the long. But it happened after the first half hour, right? Over here, we're discovering price, and then we figure out, okay, we're going higher. Then we came down and retested again, and then made new highs, and then it just went sideways. ELF, for those that trade ELF, is up 7.5%. So that's MNQ. MES is very similar. If I were to draw a fib from the swing low to the swing high, we'd probably be very close to. Do we take out liquidity? Oh yeah, we took out liquidity right a tick above here. I wish I had been at my computer at this time because honestly, this on my top step where I don't really care about what happens, this would have been a place where I would have shorted just for a quick scalp right at all-time highs here. When you see that it goes above, takes out liquidity, and then can't print a new high, that's one of my old strategies, but something that I would use on like a paper trading account, which is pretty much what Top Step is. When you pay, $50 or $100 for an opportunity to be able to try things out. Again, not trading advice. That's just the way that I'm treating the account right now. I'm just trying new things. Is your entry usually at 0.5 with stop at 61.8? Yes. Let me actually, I just need to check something here. This is okay. There we go. So yeah, we're really dropping here. And MNQ is really coming down here. Let me draw the fibs again. Where was swing low again? Was it over here, I think, right? It was in pre-market over here. Let me draw this again. I'm obviously not in a hurry because I'm not taking this trade. It's not part of my trade book, and I would prefer to look for something to see support. Right now, there's no buying, right? There's nothing in here telling me that we're buying yet. The swing low over here, the swing high is over here. It's dipping down. There could be support right here because historically, or as in historically in the last little while at 2:30 in the morning, there was support here. So this could be an area to buy. The way that I usually go is I go long at the 50, and my stop it is 61.8. I like seeing that the 61.8 is actually another level. And look at it here, right? This was resistance, resistance, resistance. And then it was support. So will it be support again? I think I'd put it maybe a tick below here. And then I'd be aiming for 3R. Right? This is how I would do it. Right? So hopefully, again, that answers the question. And just got another question over here. There we go. Oh, I'll read that after. So that's MNQ. MES. Let's draw the same levels here. Here, I can take this level off. All right, this does look like 50% of this move right now. Right, so I'm still on the 5-minute, but if I were on the 30-minute, it would be a little bit more obvious. Look at where we are right now. We're punching through the 50, so we're showing weakness right now. Right, I'm seeing weakness on MES. So do I really want to go long MNQ here? No, not necessarily. The sellers are in control right now. So for me, I'm going to take this off. And what I'm really looking at here is the fact that the impulse move is lower. We're selling. We started selling right at this point over here. I mean, this was a swing high. I could start it there. And then I would stop it where we start reversing back up. Right? But I don't know where that is right now. I'll put it there for now. So what I'd be more interested in at this point is a short. If it were to stair-step back into this, because right now the sellers are in control. There was room to the left of where the move started. It is all-time high, so it's an area where there could be difficulty finding buyers over here, right? Because they're buying at premium, even though there is supposedly or possibly good news coming out of the Gulf. So that's what I'm looking at right now. Actually, I'm not really looking at much. I'm going to wait to see what happens in after the first half-hour prints, and then we'll go from there. Don't know. Good morning, Ryan. Don't know if there's anything else going on in anything else. Let's look at gold here. Right? Gold was selling. What I'd be doing here is this was the pullback, and this was where we started selling again. I can tell right now that this is very close to pulling back into the 50 again. So I'd be looking over here, and honestly, I don't know where I'd like my fib here. I don't know if I'd like it here or where we lost this area right around here. Again, it's not an exact science. Not something I would put a limit order on, but I would look at it if it makes a new high above this. I don't really need to put an alert because we're pretty much right there right now. So this is where I would zoom in to the 2-minute, and I'd see is this being a level right now. If I put this up here, the 50 doesn't really match up with much right now. But if I do put it where we really started selling, which was right here, right? Once we broke this trendy kangaroo over here and came down, well, look at those levels now. Right? They were support. We blew past it. Will it be resistance over here? That's what I'd like to see. So that's what I would look at on MGC. And I do have an alert, so I'll keep moving on here. So oil was coming down on the news this morning. This was the pullback. I don't know if people didn't believe the news or what it was. But as soon as we pulled back, we started buying again. And this is the Kangaroo Tail setup that I've mentioned many, many times. I do not like it because it's at 835. I do not want to get into a position that leaves me open during the open. So, but this, had it happened at 10 a.m., this setup over here, then it would have been long on the break of it. Conservative stop, aggressive stop. Very aggressive stop right below the wick of the candle that breaks out, and you aim for 3. And that's what I aim for. 3R. It would have been done on 2 candles. Again, hindsight's 2020, but I'm honest with the fact that I would not take this. I do not like trading right before the open or during the open. Very curious to see that there is absolutely no movement right now in oil. This is showing resistance at this level. So it possibly wants to go higher, but right now, these 3 wicks over here tell me that there's sellers over here and a lack of buyers. So it's interesting to see if we were to put a fib from this retracement up here, then we started selling more over here. There we go. We're in that area now. So if it breaks below the 50 and takes out this fair value gap here, it might be going down lower. This was a higher time frame level I had here. I need to zoom out pretty far, but there you go. That's why that was there. And right now, am I going to short here with this level that definitely seems like it was support? Not necessarily. So a lot of things are going through my head when I see something like this. So there you go on gold. Let's see what happens here on gold. If I were to get in now, let's go into paper trading here. If I were to get in, I'd want to go limit, sell. I'd want the stop in this. I'd want my stop to be above the 61.8. The limit entry, actually, I'm leaving it as a limit now just to see how many contracts I'd want. If I want my risk at 100, it'll just be 1 contract. And the take profit would be close to the bottom of the zone at 3R. So if it breaks down below here, can I just switch to market? Yeah, I can. For me to switch the market, yeah, it's at 93 over here. I do not like market orders on this, especially if it starts coming down, because I might lose my position here. And the 2-minute hasn't closed, but the 1-minute has, and it has closed somewhat bearish. So a possible entry here would be right there. And it's 947, so I'm not sure I would take it, but that's the way that I plan it. Potential for, oh, sorry. There is never too many questions. That's why I'm here. I don't trade the first half hour. Usually, I screwed up yesterday, but that was silly. That's okay. I forgive myself. But yeah, that's why I'm here, is just to answer questions. So if the price drops below 61.8, then goes up with a kangaroo tail, would you take the trade? And what would be your entry and stop? That's another question for another type of strategy, right? So if it does wick up over here and reject, now let's say this candle right here, I don't know if you can see it, but let's say this candle right here wicked up into the 61.8 and rejected. If it showed weakness, I would take it short, but I like taking it short below the 50, right? And my stop would still be above the 61.8. The only time I would not take it, well, there's a lot of times because I do trade on price action. But if it closes, if I've got a candle that closes above, especially a 5-minute candle that closes above the 61.8, then I delete this. As far as I'm concerned, it's no longer valid. Okay, so we'll put that there. Now it seems to be putting in a kangaroo tail, right? The limit entry over here, had it been a limit entry short, right there, with the stop above. Let's just leave this here right there, and let's put this at 3, very close. Let's see if it would have worked. Right, that's what I would have planned, but again, I don't like the first half hour. I've said it a million times. Potential for a blow off top on the daily if we hold the selling area for the day. Q is about to interact with the ATR low. So let's look at the Qs over here. Q's put in this reversal yesterday, but then stair-stepped and made new highs. And then pre-market this morning, 4 a.m., made new highs, but then just from there, sold off. Those that trade the cam levels and the Kangaroo Tail, this would have been an ideal entry, right there, with the stop right where it is right now. And if it rejects R4 over here, then you can put your take profit at S3. There you go, 3.5 R over here. But try not to sound like a broken record, but 845, I would not have entered this trade, especially not on equities or an ETF, because you never know what's going to happen in the first half hour. Right, this is price discovery over here. It could have easily wicked up, taken out the stops over here, and then reversed. So that's why I would not have taken it. But let's just pretend that this was 10 a.m. Then for sure, this would have been something I would have taken. Right, R4 rejection, Kangaroo Tail at the top, takes out liquidity, room to the left. Yeah, that's a short. Up to S3, possibly, potentially S4.
Thanks for saying that, because it took everything within my fiber of being not to try to get into that trade. I mean, we had kind of a double top, but like you said, that pre-market, and right after that news that popped the market, I was like, man, do I really get in here? And then I was just hesitant the whole way down. And luckily, I never got into it until I got a good break. But yeah, it was hard not to trade that.
Yeah, it's yeah, thanks for sharing, Brian. It's absolutely a good setup. It's a great setup, especially at this news over here. The news event, this is 845 candle. Let's bring this up. So this was 823. So the news came out at 823. By the time everybody knew it, was probably around 830. So this candle right here was at 820. There was no news, important news, at 830. So this right here, this punch up was the candle of the news. And then right after, we reject it. Right after, people are saying, you know what, we're still iffy. Is it really, really important news? And then they were selling off. So honestly, if I had been home, I need to walk my my daughter to the bus right at this time. I would have had difficulty not taking it as well, because it is a very, very good setup. So anyway, I'm glad I didn't, because I don't like breaking rules, because you know what? You could have been short over here right at the open. Like I said, it can, let's do this. Right at the open, it could have gone up over here, taken out stops right here, because they know that everybody that's shorted is putting their stops above here, and then the move starts. That's what happens at 9 a.m. 9:30, sorry. That being said, I don't know what to do. What's going on with my gold trade? There you go. Would have been stopped out. Glad I didn't even take it on the paper trading. Right? I'm just explaining. Well, this now is coming into what Haranath, I hope I'm saying your name correctly. That's what you were asking right here. So let's see what happens over here. You can zoom into the 2, right? It wicked right in. It's printing in a new low, but first of all, there's a fair value gap here on the 2 minutes, so it's not very strong. But I want to see, does it close or does it start coming down below here? Right, that is absolutely a rejection candle at 61.8. So let's go to the 1 minute now. There's a lot of fair value gaps on the 1 minute. Yeah, so had this been below the 50, I would have entered. Right now, I don't really want to chase it. It's just, you know, at this point, had you gone in over here, stop would have been above the wick now, right? You don't want it at 61.8 because we've taken that out. And then aim for 3. There you go. But again, I would not take this because it's still within the zone. But this, I need to point out, is a really good sign. Look at the close of this candle over here. So the close is at 27.5. But the open of the next candle is at 26.9. So there is a gap even between the close and the open. That is bearish, right? We're skipping levels over here. Right? Hopefully that makes sense. Not saying that it's going to keep going down, but when you see something like this, usually we're overlapping, right? The close, the open, right? Usually we're very, very close. But when there's a skip like this, my eyes go to it and say, okay, if we're skipping, we're selling right now. Thanks, Arana. Hopefully that answers properly. Brian, step in here. Anything you want to say, man, go ahead. What you're looking at. Great to have you in here. MES, this is that's quite the sell-off, right? It just took out liquidity above here and then started selling off. Can you imagine the amount of people that were just waiting to short this? Right at all-time highs. But I would not be shorting to try to get to, you know, the low of a few days ago because we are still bullish. Right? So at some point, we're possibly going to find support. So you see how this fib level here, my golden zone over here, wasn't respected at all. Then it goes. MNQ, that was the line we were looking at for the possibility to go short, to bounce, right? From the low over here to the high, we put this line, but support was completely ignored. And not only was it ignored, we broke out of it and then retested for the next move lower. Right? So if you found an entry over here, this possibly would be a short entry. But I don't know. After this amount of selling, right? Anytime there's a little bit of selling, look at what happens. We start buying again. Anytime there's selling, we start buying again. Take some of these drawings out. There you go. Look at how we close this gap here. Right, went up and then came right back down. Right over here. So that's a good level right here. I'll put another one here. Alt H. There we go. Go back to the 5, which is my preferred time frame. First half hour is closing.
You know, correlation, you're talking about, you don't like the first half hour, so it leaves you at 10 o'clock. For those in the last couple of sessions I've had, I've been talking about how I'm trying to get my brain to look at 4-hour candles just like a normal candle we will trade. and 10 o'clock is the start of a new 4-hour candle. So, if you catch, and, where do we get a lot of those V reversals in the morning? You get the hard sell for 30 minutes, then 10 o'clock starts, and we can make those hard turns. And, on an hourly 4-hour, it becomes, bullish engulfing or bearish engulfing, depending on market and direction. But obviously for the last like 2 months, it's been bullish. But um, there's really a ton of potential at like really being locked in at 10, seeing what the picture's done, looking at everything, what's it told you, what's the possibility. And then for me, people who watch me trade, I'll take, 10, 15 point, scalps in the shorter time frame, and try to let some runners go. But so it's, for me, it's like a way to try to shift my mindset, like, okay, you're in the right spot. And if, let's say we start at 10 and go, okay, the 5-minute has engulfed bullish. Now does the 15, the 15's doing it. So like, stay in the trade longer, let it do what it, needs to do. And there'll come a time where I'm gonna nail a low or high on a 4-hour 10 o'clock start, and I'm gonna ride that thing for 4 hours. It's coming. I just gotta feel it.
Do you use any other indicator? You use CVD, don't you?
No, not really. I mean, I got really the only indicators I have, and it's not even for use in trading. It's more like if I'm in a trade, I'll use it for like stopping. If I'm in a trade where I've been in a trade for a while, I'll use like the 9 or the 20 or 50 EMAs for potential exits if we're losing trend off of those. But I mean, I kind of just higher time frame, a lot of stuff you're saying, look for, when I come in the morning, first thing I'm looking at is daily. We still have a new week gap. We didn't fill, the NQ didn't fill the gap from the holiday weekend. So I've got that area marked. That's a big spot. Structurally, at some point we'll be back there fixing that.
Yep.
And then I go to the 4-hour, and like say, you look for gaps, right? Displacement areas, I like to say. But
Yep.
and then of course the 8 a.m. trade's been like killing it for me for like, I don't know, 3.5 weeks now. So 8 to 8:15, I'm marking it out, throwing the 50 up, and just on the 1 minute executing. So that's been doing well. But yeah, any kind of revisiting those gaps, like I'm using it as a way to be like, I don't need to be watching the market right now because we're in no man's land. It's like, okay, now we're in a displacement area from the 4-hour time frame. So now I'm interested in what's going to happen here.
Yeah, thanks for sharing, Brian. Appreciate that. I just, my trading changed a lot once I got out of the habit of trying to catch moves in the first half hour. It just so many times I'd be right on thesis, but get stopped out, and then see your move or your trade go without you because you were just too early. So I'm honestly feeling that this is a short for now. So I'm putting in, where did we start selling? Well, we started selling at this point. Is this really support over here? It seems to be, we haven't gone to the area of support, which was down here yesterday. So this would be an obvious level to go down to. We haven't gone there yet. So what I would be looking at is from this fib over here, can we come back into the 50 and then move back down? And here, let me put an actual level here. Alt-H. All right, so that's what I'm seeing. There is absolutely rejection over here. Right? We rejected the highs over here. Don't get me wrong. This is not trading advice, but it is what I am looking at here. I want to see, we were selling. The impulse move is down. Now we are retracing over here. So what I would do is put a limit order, sell. I would put my stop above the 61.8 here. And I would put my limit order right at the 50, or just a tick or two below the 50 right here. And I'd honestly be looking to go down here. So we'll leave it. It's paper trading, so we'll leave it with more interesting numbers over here. But let's put in the sell order. Got to make sure it is with paper trading. It is, and let's just see what happens here. Right, it is after the first half hour. We are pulling into an area here. On MNQ, just looking at another screen over here. The level is 3122.50. $22.50. And there we go. Yeah, so that's what I'm looking at here. And I'm going to continue looking at it because it is just a paper trade, but I do want to see what it does over here. The reason I have a limit order is because it can wick up, just very quickly touch the 50 and then take off. I know that others that trade this strategy, they'll wait for it to go in and wait for a bearish candle afterwards. This is something that I'm still in development, still testing out. And I have obviously no fears taking it in paper trading. But with small size, I do take it on my live account as well. And now what people say is like, okay, well, why, how do you really trust this level? No, not really, not 100%. Right? If the fib was right at the top here, then the stop would have to be above here, right? So that's why I wouldn't go with this amount of size. But we really started selling this. We consolidated over here, and then we really started selling right here. So that's why I put it there. So let's just eyeball it and see what happens. There you go. I'm glad I didn't take that gold. Right? So even though it skipped the beat over here, we're still bullish. And we've closed above the 50, or sorry, the 61.8. Therefore, I take it out. MNQ is still in a MCL is still in a very, very tight zone here. The Qs are dropping. I paint a similar picture here with the Qs. Right, the 50 is very close to the 50 on the MNQ, and I like that. For this one, it's right at pre-market low, which could be right. Usually, you would think that if we're above, it's going to be support, but we blew past it. So now that we blew past it as support, it could possibly turn into resistance. And we're selling. So at this point, now that we're selling like this, I would take it off. All right, I would take it off. If it comes in and gets filled, I'll reassess, or it comes in and sets off my alert here, then I'll reassess. But what I was looking at was, we were starting to buy. Could it just wick and take my limit order here? And it did not. There we go. All right. See you later, Will. Yeah, I'm not seeing much right now. So unless there's questions, I put MRVL here because I think I shared it earlier, consolidating and then just sold off, but they have earnings after hours, so could be an interesting play. AMD has just been ripping. I was looking at it yesterday. It's like, holy, can't believe it's a 516. Tesla chopping around. This right here, as soon as I see that, I go from the top to the bottom over here, whipped into the golden zone, whipped into here, and then sold off. Right, so if somebody's trading this on equities, if it gave you a signal, this could be a short, right? Especially that's below R4.
I see you got the, I guess that looks like TradingView, and I see you've got the little cam box in the top right. So if you look at like a lot of those tickers in the indices today, we're higher, wider, but we're already at what the target of that range setup is. We're already at R3. And so, the NASDAQ right now is at central pivot. I believe it's around the CP.
Yep.
On days where they start out at the target, a lot of times they'll have that quick move we got. I actually almost did a degenerate thing and just bought 2 contracts short at 9:30 in 1 second, but I didn't. And I'm really glad I didn't, even though it would have like played really well, because that's careless. But the target is you're going to lose R3, you're going to CP, and what have we been doing? We're oscillating CP, so there's still like, I don't know, they're fishing buyers, but I think we'll stay here at CP for a while, and then I guess it's unfortunate. I was telling somebody the other day, like, I'm not political at all, but I do love a smooth administration, and that's not what we have currently. So, a tweet could come out and change the whole game. So just make sure you don't find yourself like I find myself sometimes in entering a trade just because you're bored and you feel like maybe it'll go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's dangerous, but no, you're right. Everything about trading in the last year, but especially over the last few months, has been more difficult. I mean, it's a difficult thing to do on a daily basis. It's just made more difficult with these crazy news moves. Right, this was on news as well. Right, Sunday night, apparently, things were going to be rectified in the Gulf, and boom, it just takes off. And then, the news that came out this morning was that supposedly they're saying within a month the Strait of Hormuz will be back to normal. The U.S. is going to pull out. But how true is it? Trump can come out and say, whatever the news is, because I do think it came out of Iran. Let me find my news over here. Iran State TV. Yeah, military vessels are not included in this draft, but it was Iran State TV that was saying right here, they were saying that U.S. forces will withdraw from vicinity. But as what you're saying, Brian, Trump could come out at 9 o'clock and say, no, we never said that. And then all of a sudden, I mean, the entire market goes completely against you. So what's been working for me, and I've been doing this for a while now, is aiming for smaller moves, aiming for 3R. and then get back in. If it pulls back like this, let me use this as an example. Let me take some of these lines off. I want to ask you a question about your levels in a minute. But if I were short here, you know, I take my 3-4R, and then if it pulls back and gives you another entry, then enter again, right? And risk 1R again and aim for 3. Right? So you're stair stepping and you're not putting on as much risk. And 3R is often reachable. So my question was, you were saying that we're messing around CP. What is your CP on your platform? I'm at 30,045 here, if you're still listening.
Yeah, mine is at, I mean, we're close. I'm at 44 spot 25. So
yeah, that's basically identical. So okay, great. Yeah, I use this tool, which is the CPPL Auto. That's the I don't remember the guy's name. Does it say? Yeah, there you go. So people that are looking here, there's the one that I use. It's a free one.
Yeah, BruzzX. Yeah, he's a master coder.
Yeah, no, and it seems, and I know that he's got one that is a little bit more precise, and it comes with actual suggestions of plays. But so it's something that you can pay monthly, I believe, to get the access to that. I do not, obviously. I just have the free levels here. I do not necessarily trade the cam levels exclusively, but I do like having them on my screen. Because I know the system very well. And I know that, you know, if we're above R4 and R4 looks like it's being support, then it could be a buy area. I don't like selling if we're above R6 because it's obviously very strong above there. You know, I like buying at S3 and S4. You know, I like shorting at R3 if we open up under R3 and it's showing as resistance, especially when it's in a lower range. So it's not a simple system, but if you know it and you can use it in accordance with something else, then it can be profitable. The 68 level here is just something that I've been working at myself. So it's just something that I've added. I don't always have it on there. I like having the 50 and the 61.8. And the 61.8 is the only true Fibonacci level. Right? All the other stuff are just more ratios that take into consideration the actual golden ratio. Right? And why does 61.8 work? I don't think it's because it's the ratio that's used in beehives and leaves and flowers and stuff like that. I think traders at one point started using this level, and now a lot of people use the 50 to 61.8, and because a lot of people use it, it works. All right, that's my opinion. Thanks for that question. Anybody else have questions? Please don't hesitate getting on the mic, and please don't hesitate asking questions. If you don't want me to say your name, then you know, just say don't mention me or something like that if you're shy. Or yes, this is recorded, and yes, it does go on YouTube. But you know, it's just to help others learn. So what really helps is questions. Now that it's chopping around here, I would still consider my short idea over here. But now that it went up here and it's chopping, I wouldn't necessarily enter with a limit order. I would look at it and see if we start selling at the 50. If we make it up here, and this is what I do all the time. I mean, I'll put an alert over here and then I'll walk away, or I'm working at the computer, excuse me, and the alert will come on, or I'll be doing something outside. The alert comes on my watch. You know, take your time, come and look at it. If it goes according to my setup, then I get into the trade and I risk 1 hour. Always. The only time R will change is because of the stop loss. Right? Let me give you an example for that. So if I put in a limit order here and I put my take profit and my sell, so if I wanted to get into a position here, and I'll put a more realistic number for most people, not necessarily 1,000, especially not when you're learning. I go over here and I put it into risk in US dollars. Nice round number, put in 100. Right? At this point right now, it comes out perfectly, right? 290. But if my stop, let's say it was a little bit wider, sorry, a little bit closer, then one contract is only $65. Even though in your head you want to risk 100, then you can say, okay, well, I'll go and risk a little bit more than 100. You'd have to go to 130 to be able to go 135. There you go. It's 131 for 2 contracts. You know, but I like the way that TradingView does it. Rounds down. Right? If your risk is $100, well, you can't get 2 contracts because it would be $131 risk. So it rounds you down to 1 contract. Right? And once that is in, you look for, what I do is look for 3R. 3R over here would be around 130 something. Right? Or sorry, 180, 190 something. So it would be around there. What I usually do is I put on the short tool. Once I've got this in here, put the short tool, put the stop at the same level, and then aim for 3. Whoops, take that away. Aim for 3, and then move this to match. So hopefully that helps. Another few minutes, and I'm going to walk away. Brian, I don't know if you're staying on past 9:30. If you're going to be on a little bit later, please don't hesitate to share.
Yeah, I was actually thinking, since I wasn't able to make it yesterday, I think I have time today, so I'll probably come on. If Avi doesn't hop on at noon, I'll probably do a little noon session. So
Noon
anybody
session,
wants to come back,
perfect. Sorry to interrupt you. Yeah, so noon. Yeah, I don't think anything has been mentioned over here. Do you mind me asking what the expression "out of pocket today" means? I guess I could have Googled it, but I just saw that, out of pocket.
Yeah, no, out of pocket. Yeah, just like I'm not at the desk, I'm not at the house. We have you probably heard me mention before about, I still have my full-time job, and we're opening a new concept, and we're only like 2.5 months behind, and we're really trying to push we're kind of missing the peak season for the area, and that's not good. So we're trying to push and get that done.
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome that you can have a full-time job and still be able to do this. Is it because of time zone that are you on the West Coast?
No, I'm on the East Coast. So, the thing is, when you're meeting contractors and things, they like to meet early in the morning. So, and the place is like 1.5 hours from where I live. So I'm on, and the traffic here is, we've got people moving here from New York, California, Texas, and they all drive differently, which conflicts with each other's styles. So traffic's great.
I can imagine. Do you mind saying where are you located?
Yeah, East Tennessee. I'm in Knoxville, so it's about
in Tennessee.
Most people know like Pigeon Forge, Sevierville. That's a big touristy area here. I'm about 1 hour away from there.
Okay. Oh, awesome. Thanks for sharing. I'm assuming you guys get pretty nice weather down in Tennessee. I guess I don't think the winters are too rough.
Yeah, they're not bad at all. Yeah, they're not too bad. The weather here is kind of bipolar. We had 4 different winters and 3 springs before it actually decided to stay warm. So
Yeah, where I am, it took a very long time to warm up this year. A lot of people in my area, I'm in the Toronto area, and it was a very, very long and difficult and gray winter, and it was almost 6 months. So glad that the days are getting warmer and that I can wear a t-shirt and sit outside and look at charts on my iPad instead of being in my office, which is great. So this seems to be putting in a little bit of a double bottom. Would be interesting to see what it does if it hits S3 or if it takes out liquidity just below the low over here. Could be a signal that the buyers are going to step in. If it did give a signal to buy over here, I'd be very, very careful of the CP, first of all, then this level that I've put on here, and then the 50. Right. So if you decide to go long over here at a certain point, if it gives you a signal to go long, be careful of where we could be hitting resistance. We still buying in gold? Yeah, that was quite a nice move up here. Oil is still very, very tight in this area. Nobody wants to put on risk, and who can blame them, right? As far as the big players, do they really want to put on risk on here when one tweet or a truth, one post could absolutely destroy their position? M2K. It just choppy mess. I don't see anything here. We are selling right now. So from here, when we do put in a bottom here, it'd be interesting what it does at 50. MYM, very mellow, not much going on. Has taken out liquidity over the top here, right? But seems to be strong. Right? If we were to put a level here, it broke out of it with momentum. Right, so broke out with momentum, pulling back. This is where I'd go into the 2 minute or the 1 minute entry. If we were to break the high, see, that's a bearish candle right there. If we were to put in a bullish candle, this could be considered a break and retest. Right? We broke out of this area. I mean, it retested right on the first minute over here. So did the move really already happen? I don't know. And then you look left. I mean, there are targets higher. Page this level over here. So yeah, difficult. It's not smooth sailing, that's for sure. Zoom in. Spiking up. These spikes over here worry me. When it just spikes up, takes out liquidity, and now it does seem to be a little bit stronger. So might be a break and retest possibility on the Russell. Sorry, the Dow. All right, so it's 10:28. I am going to step back, put this back over here. Now that we've made a new low over here, I'd have to move the fib to a little bit lower. All right, you see it there. And then when you do move it, see how this candle over here now touches the 50. Right, so this could be an area of support over here. So all kinds of different things that I look at. So like I said, it's 10:30. I'm going to walk away. Brian said he's going to be back in here at 12. The room remains open from now until 12. or whether Brian can show up or not. The room is open during the entire day. And then there's the other the voice channels in the Discord as well. So anyway, hopefully everybody's having a great day. I'm going to walk out and have a great day. See you tomorrow.